Hi, today we're going to check out the work of Kang Lei, and he doesn't actually have an art station, so I had to kind of check out his actual website and kind of just pick my faves. And yeah, so he does like films and games, so he's kind of like a well-rounded kind of artist, and I feel like in terms of his skill set, he can pretty much go for like quick sketches to like more highly rendered, even photo bashed stuff. So he is kind of a very versatile kind of artist, although I do like seeing more of his painterly stuff. He does use like the round brush a lot, and you can see a bit of that build up with the paint in his work. And whenever he does photo bash, it's kind of tasteful. It doesn't overwhelm like the eye. He's kind of like James Pack. If you've seen like a couple of videos from James Pack, he doesn't overdo the photo bashing. It's kind of almost rare sometimes. It feels like it's rare. And the point is that the painting actually takes or is most of what makes the art piece, right? And not the actual photo textures. They're more like just supplementary things to kind of add a bit of extra information. And I will also be linking like 2 videos of Kang Lei. He did like this presentation or something, and if you want to see him actually work, you can check it out in those 2 videos. It's kind of it's split into 2, part 1 and part 2. So this is actually the current piece you're seeing is a work or an art piece for the Mars Needs Moms, I guess, the kind of animated film. And I actually really liked the film, just because it was kind of interesting. And seeing the creatures there, like, I think they're mostly women, where the men are kind of actually, like they're hid underground, or they're kind of imprisoned in a way. And it's kind of like a civilization that's kind of heavily female. And yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing, but it looked cool to me. So I do like this kind of environment concepts, and he does do more scenes. Like he can do like complete scenes, so he's not just an environment artist, he's not just a character artist. He can technically do everything, which is pretty cool. And you can see in this piece he does kind of layer things a bit. Like you can tell this kind of cockpit. It's not a cockpit. It's this kind of seat with this kind of arm. It's kind of set on its own layer just to be safe, and you can tell by the edges how the edges are kind of clear cut from the actual background. So it does help to layer things out in that way just to be safe. Now this one, I think this is for the Independence Day film. It's a nice cinematic shot. It's a keyframe, and here you can see a lot of his texture brushes here. And again, he does photo bash, but it's very tasteful. And you kind of have to be a bit more aware. Well, not a bit more, but it's the same thing when you kind of paint. You don't want to spend too much time on the details, so you just want to make sure you get the big picture kind of in place, especially at the beginning, and everything else is just kind of touching things up. So I think it's a great example of finding that nice line, you know, or that balance. Sorry. Another keyframe from that film. And here you can actually see the alien thing bashing this guy on the screen. And you can tell maybe he did do some 3D. It's really hard to say, but I feel like this was just kind of 2D painted with some high level photo bashing, you know. And it has that nice kind of mix where it's actually almost hard to tell which is which, and that's actually kind of a good sign of a good piece that's photo bashed well. If it's kind of blended well, it's kind of hard to see. If there's hardly any kind of distraction in terms of the actual art piece, where nothing is kind of off or off-putting, I think you've done a good job. And it's so typical in concept art to get these sorts of pieces where it's kind of like it's pretty high quality but not super like a matte painting, right? And he did some work for like the Alien Covenant, pretty interesting stuff. and he did like creatures. This one's actually more of a keyframe, has a bit more storytelling. You can tell there's a bit more atmosphere in this piece. And he also did like a bunch of like environment designs. Maybe I think it's for the engineer's world, because in that kind of, in the Alien Covenant kind of film or kind of world, there is this kind of world for the engineers, I guess. And he did a few concepts for that. Now the photos here, or the images are actually kind of jumbled up, so apologies, because I had to kind of drag it to my own like computer. So yeah. Another example of a nice kind of, you can tell like some parts are a bit more solid and painted in, and some parts are kind of photo bashed in, and it helps to kind of layer things. You can tell by this structure here, how it's kind of separated from the background. Even this kind of bridge thing, it's also in its own layer, and you can see this nice cut, and it kind of helps to organize your environment, especially in this way where everything is kind of segmented and blocked, which is going to be easier to manage and photo bash and paint over with. Same thing for this, pretty cool concept. This one's way more kind of longitudinal or cinematic, right? And again, nice blend between painting and photo bashing. You can tell like a lot of like photo textures were used. And it does make it more intense, right? Now this one is actually more painted, which I do like seeing more of these, where I can actually see the brush strokes. And a lot of his painted stuff, where they feel more moody to me. I feel like there's a bit more atmosphere. Whenever he goes further into like the photo bashing side, it kind of loses energy to me. Although when it comes to like the refined look, it's pretty cool, right? But when it comes to like mood paintings or storytelling atmosphere, I feel like his paintings where it's really where he shines the best, I guess. Fuck. Oh, I believe this is a Mars Needs Moms. And look at these environments. You can see like he just used a round brush for the most part. A couple of photo bashing involved, especially when it comes to say the lighting. This is obviously from some kind of a building surface or plane, right? Kind of just implanted in to add a bit of extra depth or information, I guess. But you can tell everything is just, or most of it is just kind of painted. It's kind of like Feng Shui also, where the photo doesn't take control. The painting is kind of what leads the whole thing, right? And what's scary about photo bashing is sometimes you can go overboard. For me, sometimes when I like add lights, I can sometimes overpopulate the image, and it ends up looking so cluttered. But yeah, nice shot. I mean, look at how most of this is actually just a bunch of silhouettes with a bit of lighting in them, right? So it's a great painting is a great way to kind of just see the bigger picture. So yeah. Wow, this one's pretty cool. It's so moody. I love the lighting. Very, very otherworldly, and it's beautiful. Even though it's not exactly like super refined, it feels amazing to me. I mean, you can see the small brush stroke here. I mean, this piece isn't even that big, but because it's so full of I mean, there's some design, the mood, the atmosphere is there. It has a great kind of read. Like this form is kind of readable from this form, and even if there's so many things going on, it just feels good. You can even see some reflected lighting here coming from the city lights, right? This nice kind of bridge and some buildings and the actual bridge. Whoa, pretty cool stuff, right? These are designs for these are part of the Independence. Independent? Well, I'm not sure. You know what, I can't say. Maybe this is for a different project, but I do like the grayscale kind of painting. In this case, he's focusing more on the design. This one has a bit of storytelling in it, some design, but this one's heavily more into design. And whenever you're designing something, it always helps to kind of simplify things. And well, in general, it helps to simplify things, but you don't have to like color when you're designing. You can always start off with a grayscale kind of sketch or painting, and you can always add color later on. And by doing this, you're actually focusing more on the forms, or it encourages you at least to focus more on the forms and the actual kind of design and the silhouette and details and stuff like that. This one's actually for the Independence Day, I think, right? Feels like a keyframe. I think this one made it, this kind of design, because I remember in the film it's kind of orb-like, the cannon thing. Some more designs. They're actually not like line sketches, they're like grayscale paintings essentially, right? Pretty cool stuff. And I need more. I need to do more of this. Sometimes I feel like I'm not exactly lazy, but I feel like I'm ignoring this side of world building, doing the quick sketches and just coming up with like a bunch of ideas quickly, and almost in like a thumbnail form. He did also work for the Pirates of the Caribbean. This one's pretty highly textured, lots of photo bashing here. It's very typical concept art kind of level of skill. It's well blended, looks cool, has a very strong kind of atmosphere and depth. It's almost like a shot from the actual kind of film, and that's always kind of a nice standard to have, right? Oh, these are for the film 9. I remember seeing that as a kid, and it's kind of an eerie film, very, very scary. I actually still don't understand it, so maybe I'll watch it or rewatch it, someday. Yeah, it does have like a lot of creepy kind of elements, where it's essentially where it's a world where the machines have essentially kind of taken over. So maybe that's where we're headed. But look at this. It's a line sketch with some basic coloring, a bit more focus here on the head. Right? Very, very cool. And this one's more of a grayscale painting. You can see a bit of the line sketch maybe, although it's very rough, and then it gets heavily more painted in this area. Pretty cool concept, right? This one does have a bit of color, and look at how you can see the brushstrokes here. It has a nice appeal. Reminds me of the work of Fred Rambaud. He also does the same thing in some of his sketches, where his coloring isn't too complete. It's kind of rough, but it looks so concept arty, you know. And whenever you're trying to figure out something, you don't have to get it to a finished level if the thing you're going for is the idea anyway. So this is a great example of that kind of approach. This one's more of a painting, right? Some kind of, it's not exactly a keyframe because it's more like a portrait shot, but has a bit of storytelling, I guess. Another alien concept. This could be some kind of engineer. Maybe he's infected. His head is kind of getting bigger. You can see some wounds here, so maybe they're all kind of sick. Maybe. This one's from the Jack the Giant Slayer, I think. Hopefully, I'm saying it right. This one feels more painted to me. You can see more of the brushstrokes, but great sense of depth. Depth. Sorry. Like this piece actually feels big, even though the frame of this thing is kind of small, or the actual image is small. The actual thing within the frame looks so big. So atmospherically, it looks. Maybe it's because of the lighting here, or he was able to just kind of get the levels to a good kind of a level that it does make the whole scene look kind of massive. I can't remember what is this for. Jack the Giant Slayer? Hard to say, but I love the moods though. This one feels like a very positive kind of environment, just because it's you're near the sea, you know. It's very kind of bright. You're in daylight. This one does feel like I love the lighting though. The forms, the edges are very kind of clear. And he does the same thing along with John McCoy and Feng Zhu, where they don't exactly post the like the full image. They kind of resize it to a smaller version, and it does help the viewer. It forces the viewer to see things from the bigger kind of view, and it's great for like keyframes and scenes in general. Whoa! Here you can see this thing, and this thing is on its own layer, and even everything else essentially. And this is an example of how it helps to be a bit organized with your layering. Now for me, I tend to be more kind of just raw and just paint over the edges. But it does help to save time, especially when you're doing like a complex kind of scene. Yeah. Whoa, this one does have a lot more greens in it. It feels packed, it feels busy. And you can actually feel the world, which is really cool. So Kang Lei is a great example of world building because he can pretty much do everything. So I do want that side of him, or that kind of aspect of him, where he can essentially build an entire world, right? He can do characters, he can do environments, keyframes, you name it. And vehicles, right? Ooh. Talent. Ooh. Alien concept. I believe this is the Android that kind of released the thing. Oh, look at the mech. I believe this was for the Alien, the Independence Day kind of mech concept thing. It's a bit more refined, but it's still painted, but it's a bit more refined. Like it's a bit tighter, right? Where it's actually hard to see the brushstrokes. A lot more like thumbnail stuff. It's not exactly a thumbnail because you can see more of the forms in it a bit, but it's a quick sketch exploring different iterations of the mech, of those aliens in the Independence Day kind of world. Right, and you can do a lot of these concepts quickly with just grayscale and explore forms quickly, and a nice indication of scale here by adding simple like stick people, right? Another kind of keyframe shot of the hangar, I guess. More alien iterations, and I love how he was able to achieve that kind of effect, because xenomorphs in that world, that's what you call the alien in this kind of world, xenomorphs. They're usually they're done black, right? They have like a black skin or surface, but in the Alien Covenant, I think he was exploring, or they explored a white version of it, because I think they were trying to make this origin story for how the xenomorphs were created. I guess it's very confusing kind of because there's so many kind of contradictions with other films, but well, this one is actually kind of a nice butt out kind of shot, and you can actually see a bit of reds in some areas. So he's trying to suggest that you can actually see a bit of the interiors of this creature, right? It does get more tighter in the face and the head. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And this one doesn't actually have a tail. In the film, I do know it does have like a one long tail. It's not very thick, but it's there. Here you have a bit of a tailbone thing going on here. Fuck. Sorry. Oh my god. Anyway. Whoa, it's a bit more defined. Shit. But yeah. He was still able to maintain that sense of xenomorphness. I do recommend you check out the work of H.R. Geiger, the guy who kind of really set the mood, the design, the feel of that whole kind of alien xenomorph world. It's kind of like a very biological, organic, mechanical, and erotic, dark kind of thing. Shit. A few more iterations of this one's actually a close-up of the face, and you can see the mouth kind of opening. I love seeing the suggestion of a skull here and a bit of this kind of yellow green thing. You can see a bit of the interiors of this the Xenomorph, right? Very, very cool. And I like seeing this bit of highlight because it is kind of like the skin has to be kind of different. Even though it's kind of white and transparent, it's very similar to the original kind of design, where the skin of the Xenomorph is a bit kind of latex-ish, where it does shine in some areas. A few more head iterations. It does have like a long head. Here you can see a bit of the human kind of face skull. Maybe this is kind of part of the transformation that's kind of going on here. And here the face is just gone. It's just its own thing right now. You can see a bit of the mouth, I guess. Hopefully that's a mouth. Oh, another iteration, damn. Once you've painted something, it's just easier to paint over, so you could just make a new group, a new layer, and make an extra kind of iteration, if need be. This one's actually more of a keyframe. So the light source is coming from the viewer, so maybe they just found this guy kind of roaming around. So he reused the same thing, I guess, and maybe just change the environment. Whoa. Oh, this one's for Star Wars, maybe Rogue One. I do recommend you also check out his website. He does have like a few pending images, I guess, that he has to kind of wait for approval on, for him to actually show it in his own website. I will link all of his links in the description below, so no worries. Another Rogue One shot of this guy, and I do like seeing the brushstrokes even more in this one, right? Because it's actually visible, and it looks pretty cool. And I like how he was able to suggest this kind of glass thing, right? It feels like this guy is actually inside some kind of gun turret cockpit thing. This is for the Independence Day thing, I believe. And look at how the grayscale painting really does help save time. Maybe he did have to photo bash this group of people in, and then maybe did a paint over. I'm guessing. But the painting in grayscale is just going to save you a lot of time, because you can focus more on the shapes, on the design, on the forms, on the silhouette. Kind of like Anthony Jones. He does like Anthony Jones does a lot of like grayscale paintings, because it's just faster in general, right? There's some kind of engineer designs, perhaps for the statues. Well, this one's pretty high quality, and I like how he was able to translate or bring in that, because if you check out H.R. Geiger's work again, it's very highly erotic, sensual. So you can actually with these sorts of things, I mean, this looks like a dick, right? Even the buildings in the background, he does have like a few environment, like cityscape sketches or paintings, where it's such a good kind of translation, or not translation. It feels like H.R. Geiger did it, or it's not too far off from an H.R. Geiger piece. So yeah. This is for the Independence Day thing. More designs. They're colored. Maybe some 3D was used, I'm guessing. A nice shot of the base in that film. This is actually, I believe, one of his earlier works back in 03. Shit. Maybe 2003. I like seeing these types of paintings more, where you can see like the brush strokes. And in this case, I think he just used a round brush. Well, not just a round brush, but it's not exactly super opaque. He had to like build up the paint, so you can see a bit more transparency in the strokes. And I like seeing that. And look at how you can build this entire kind of scene. It's super impressive. Reminds me of J.H.A.O. Park, or Paper Blue. That's kind of the name of his kind of thing, I guess. But Yeah, they have a similar kind of approach. At least when it comes to this piece. Oh fuck, another kind of alien concept. Oh, this is the environments I was talking about. It does still feel like an H.R. Geiger kind of concept. You can see a lot of like organic forms, with a mix of like mechanical parts, right? And a lot of dicks. It's very common in H.R. Geiger's work. You need to have that sexual bit of it. It's very, very erotic and dark at the same time. And I like how it's seen here. Like this scene, even the color scheme, it's not too positive, right? It's a bit eerie and scary, like uncomfortable. So I do like that, translation. Am I saying right? Am I saying that right? Translation? I feel like there's a better word for. It's consistent. It's consistent. Okay, fuck. Another concept. I mean, Jesus, look at that. It's so cool. I love the mood, the lighting, everything. Maybe he did reuse some concepts and he probably started with one painting and then just changed a couple of things as he went to kind of create different versions of the cityscape, right? Whoa, super cool. I believe this is for the Dark Tower film. It was a very confusing film. I think it was based off of a book, but I like the quality of this one. Very concept art, like standard concept art, standard for art. Where there's nice photo bashing, nice painting. It's a bit kind of refined. Yes, same thing for this one. Right. It's very highly kind of packed and detailed. That this guy actually does have a bit of a fish face, and it does have like eyes, so that's kind of putting me off. So maybe this is where the people in this kind of city just started to they've essentially changed and they got infected. So maybe that's what Kang Lei was trying to explore, right? So more designs, I believe, for the 9 film. Oh, another kind of alien concept. So the bodies are kind of mixing with the actual maybe ship. Very, very eerie. The kind of command center of the ship, perhaps, right? This one's highly done. Feels more like a keyframe to me. And he did have to photo bash his face in. So that's pretty cool. Oh, look at how he simplified the background. Kind of makes sense. And he did focus more on the plane. This was for the Independence Day film, the part 2. Where the aliens kind of returned. Oh, I like this one. It's still kind of grayscale. It does have a bit of like accent color in the kind of lighting parts, but I do like the design. Now this wasn't as seen in the film. The direction was just different, but it still had that kind of organic kind of look. And I guess I also like his like alien, not just the alien, but the Independence Day stuff, because design wise, I kind of want this in my own work as well. So yeah, I kind of want to it's one of the reasons why I also kind of wanted to review more of fuck. Okay, fuck me. Pirates of the Caribbean keyframe. Oh, it's so sharp. Maybe he did use the sharp pen filter in the end, just to add a bit of grit or teeth in the end. Very cool. I actually find it difficult to do like underwater concepts, just because like I want to learn how to achieve that kind of misty look without having to use like a fog brush, you know. Like how do you create that softness, right? and how do you handle the lighting, because it's not going to be as like sharp. It's going to like, how do you indicate that kind of soft movement, right? Like there's actual water kind of flowing through the scene. He was able to achieve it though, so that's pretty cool. Another Mars needs mom concept. I mean, look at how awesome this is. You can see like a lot of the brushstrokes, but it's very highly done, right? And the scene is just so packed with detail. I do think he did have a few photos to kind of help with that, right? But I think most of it is just him painting it, right? Another room design. Oh, he does get looser here, so that's pretty cool. A bit of photo bashing, I believe. But look at that. Reminds me a bit of Craig Mullins. It does have a similar kind of look, right? And lots of hue variety. The brushwork is kept simple. The most used brush is the round brush, right? Here the edges of like this thing, the cables here, this globe, they're pretty sharp, so it adds a bit of extra punch. Here it's not super like cut, so it's going to look a bit more loose, right? But it's still, concept-wise, it still communicates the idea of this room. Again, I love the mood, I love the lighting. You get this kind of arm, this guy's kind of in his command center, I guess. And yeah, again, I like seeing the brushstrokes a lot. It's very, very... It's not super painterly like an oil painting. It's fuck. It's hard to say. I just like it. So I do recommend you. Oh, we're done. So we've basically cycled through his entire kind of well, not his entire portfolio, but the ones I like, at least. So when it comes to his actual work, I do like seeing more of this, right? This one's a bit too refined, but seeing this and this, that's kind of where I'm at, or what I'm going for. I don't want to go overboard with the refinement, so I'm going to also avoid being so sharp with the edges of certain things, because I want to kind of just paint over it, right? Kind of like this one. Maybe he did use, or he painted this part in its own layer, as well as for this thing and this thing. Because I did see him kind of paint in fuck. Why can't I talk? I'm going to link 2 videos, and you can actually see him paint there, and he does kind of layer things a bit, but you don't have to go super clean with the edges, kind of like he did with this piece. You know, you can just kind of leave your art or painting at this level, and it will still probably look good, right? Kind of like this one as well. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the art review series, reviewing Kang Lei's work. There's actually 2 Kang Lei's that I found online. The other one is more into like visual development, so just be wary of that. I will obviously be linking the Kang Lei that we're referring to in this video. So yeah, it's kind of sad that he doesn't have like an art station, so at least I haven't found one myself. Hopefully I'm kind of mistaken, but yeah, thank you for watching. Keep drawing, keep painting, and stay free.